Well, you typical angry veteran. Stay away from me, I'm highly medicated.
Come on. Come on. This always happens now.
Hello, and welcome to the War Within.
Hello, everybody. All right, hey, everybody, how's it going? It's
Hello,
Corey.
welcome to the
Sorry,
War
I am.
Within.
Hello, everybody. All right, hey, everybody, how's it going? We got a lot of stuff going on here right now. Sorry, we got all sorts of technological shit going on. All right, hey, everybody, how's it going? It's Corey with the War Within, podcast number 5. I'm here with Brady Pesola. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little stressed from traffic, but you know, it's all right.
San Diego, bro.
Yeah, dude. I look at everybody sitting around me, and I don't want to hurt anybody, but you see it in your head and go, I'd like to just ram you just a little bit, just a little nick in the side of the vehicle, kind of wake you up. Like, can you not do that shit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's completely normal. One of my biggest things is dude, so I'm an Italian dude from the East Coast, and brother, man, like, that's how shit used to be. Like, anytime someone cut you off, you'd be like, fuck you, like, die. Like,
Yeah.
even, like, try to, like, get close and try to piss them off. I've learned over the years, like, how to kind of work with that and get away from it. But one of my biggest things now is, like, dude, what I do now whenever it comes down to it is I try to listen to podcasts now. Because...
What podcast would that be?
Oh shoot! Hey guys, the War Within podcast. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's so crazy.
That's like coincidental. Shit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, because like I'm always rushing. Like I'm always trying to time everything perfectly. Yeah. So I get to places like right when I need to, and when I'm hitting traffic, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like fuck you, motherfuckers. And the big thing, as you know, dude, is like over the last it seems like over the last 2 years specifically, like. It just seems like there's been a huge influx of people into San Diego. So it's like there is traffic constantly. Dude, whenever you go out.
There is, and I think what pisses me off more about people is their behavior when they do something to you. And then when you like look at them like, hey, dickhead, can you not?
Right.
They give you the finger.
Right.
Like you're an asshole. Like, are you serious right now? Like that makes me want to hate you even more. So you know what I do now? I hate to say it, and people are like, what the, you know, I put Netflix on. I don't give a shit. I straight put that bitch on, dude. Because if I'll watch the road, but it keeps me from looking to my left and right, unless I'm changing lanes. I obviously use my mirrors. But I swear to God, dude, it keeps me from looking my left and right and get angry, or the person from. It makes me deal with traffic a lot better because I'm, you know, it's playing in my head. I'll watch documentaries like.
Your mind's kind of tuned into something else to the point where it's like the priority is no longer now just being angry or focusing on the fact that I'm in this. Like uncontrollable situation. Like
my favorite documentary I watch, like the Ken Burns documentaries, like the Ken Burns, like it makes those documentaries. It's like you know, it's like it's got a photo, but it actually makes the photo kind of animated. And that's what makes his shows watchable. But it's PBS, and the one of my favorites is the Wild West. Like that's my favorite. Like there's a whole bunch of episodes, and it's all like 90 minutes, dude. And you can. Oh, dude, it teaches you everything about.
When did this start? When did this?
Oh, this is like an old one from the 90s. You can hear Broderick. What's the guy's name?
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick. He's like reading his letters in there.
Ferris Bueller.
You can hear Morgan Freeman in the early career. Like this is like from the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? You can hear like actors in the early career like narrating the letters. So, like, my dearest Hannah, you know, like stuff like that. It's really cool. Really cool documentary. So it's educational. Like, so what podcast do you listen to? Like, one of my favorites is like I actually listen to Joe Rogan from time to time. It's not bad to listen to.
Oh man, I'm on a tear lately. My podcast, I listen to Joe Rogan, obviously. I try to listen to Sam Harris's stuff. Are you familiar with Sam Harris?
The name sounds familiar.
Dude is brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant individual. He's well known. He's a well-known atheist, but he wouldn't consider himself an atheist. But he's lumped into the kind of category as that's concerned. But he's a newer age. I hate to use the term new age. It's such a fucking just adopted term into whatever. He's a, let's call it new school. He's like a new school philosopher. Stanford educated. I believe he's a teacher, or was a teacher at Stanford, but he's also big into spirituality, which is kind of a conundrum. But the dude is just brilliant. I try to listen to Jordan Peterson stuff. Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson?
These names sound familiar.
Yeah, man. They're all kind of they're kind of like the key individuals on what's going on with the whole like SJW, free speech, encroachment of power, like postmodernist, like neo-Marxist stuff. So I'll listen to that. I like Stefan Molyneux. I don't know if you know him. Same thing. Very much on like men's rights and...
What's that?
What's men's rights? Yeah, exactly. Can you even say that?
Yeah, what is that? Am I allowed to say that?
two heterosexual white males talking about men's rights.
Yeah. No, you're Italian. You were considered a minority for a long time.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter anymore now.
No, it doesn't.
No, I'm not part of a marginalized group, except for being a veteran, which that still holds no tie.
I will not even consider ourselves a marginalized. I will not allow ourselves to become victimized and.
Well, that's what this fucking shit's about right now, too, man. Like, there's too many people in the community that are just like, nah.
No, I'm a poor veteran. Give me a 10% discount.
Yeah, exactly. Or, I serve this country. You owe me.
No fucking owe you shit. It's voluntary. Oh, I'm gonna lose friends off this fucking. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, I think we should fucking call these people out, dude. So what?
I agree. I do. You know what's funny? I have friends of mine that are like that. They're gonna fucking chew my ass once we're done. Like, what the fuck you mean by that, bro?
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the key thing is to start kind of like hashtag woke, kind of get people to understand that those types of behaviors are kind of they're exactly what's causing people to falter in their life and not progress.
Yeah.
You and I the reason why I bring you on here too is because you're striving forward. You're doing stuff in order to achieve and to move past the image of our past. Does that make sense?
I agree.
One of the biggest things. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But one of the biggest things is I think a lot of veterans, what they do is they associate too much with their time in service. I think that they're scared to try to become better than what they did while in the military, and I think they're scared to utilize a lot of the tools that they learned while in the military. And I think they're scared to move past that story. That what I call that peaking. It's like, dude,
it's like the jock in high school who lives the rest of... You go back to high school reunion and he's a car salesman. You know, and you're like, man, this one time when I played football... Like,
dude, you remember those days?
What have you done
remember I chugged a fucking six-pack in front of that chick and then I slammed her, bro? Like, yeah, that's cool, man. What are you doing now? Oh, I'm fucking, making $35,000 and...
Hey, you know what? In some places where I'm from, that's not bad money, I'll tell you.
Fuck that guy.
You know what, though? I mean, I've worked in retail before, and it used to annoy me. Like, look, we get out of the military, we struggle a little bit. We try to find jobs and stuff like that, you know? I mean, look, it's one thing, it's like, hey, man, do you guys do a military discount, you know? And it's like, hey, it's one thing to be like, hey, do you guys do military discount? You know, be humble about it. Like, hey, sure. I could use a couple extra saving bucks. Yeah, man, whatever. But it's when you got people that like, I'm not gonna mention names. But there was one guy. He was in the medical field when he retired, and you always, over like $10 items. Like, oh, you forgot my military discount. Like, what do you mean your military discount? It's not a requirement. It's a courtesy I may extend to you as a cashier at my leisure. Right. But when you start doing stuff like that, you make the rest of us look bad. And you know what? And I hate when people say, well, they didn't offer me a military discount. I'll never go back there again. Guess what? It's a capitalist society. Right. They don't have to. Right. It doesn't necessarily mean they hate veterans or they don't. Mom and pop businesses struggle to keep alive. For sure. You know, and if they can't afford a military discount, oh well, move on with your life. Understand that. It goes back to the, I guess in a way, the virtues as to why you decided to join the military. Yeah. Does it make any sense? Yeah. So it's like, did you join the military so that when you got out, you could fly around this flag saying that I'm a veteran, then everybody had to roll out a fucking red carpet for you? Or did you join for the ideals of, protecting freedoms or making your communities a better place, or even hell, being a role model for other individuals to like sacrifice some of your own whatevers to go and do something that other people were not willing to do. So for you to finish up your term
and get out, and then all of a sudden turn into Mr. fucking like, hey, you owe me so much. Now, granted, I do believe there should be.
Well, look,
I don't know. Like,
you know what? Look, there's entitlements, and I hate to use the word entitlement because it's such a pejorative.
Yeah.
But there are people, you know, like the GI Bill, absolutely well deserving. You know, if you get hurt, something happens to you, you know, great, get disability and stuff like that. You know, I've got things wrong with me, but I've never been to combat, and because of that, I've never wanted to go to the VA because I felt like there's a guy like you that I would be preventing. Like, I don't want to back up the line with bullshit, you know, and stuff like that. And so I you know, this whole thing about getting out and everyone owes you something kind of thing is like, you volunteered for a service.
Right.
And, you know, good on you. Good you did that. And you will always be my brother, and I will always help you out, you know. And oftentimes people look too much towards the outside rather than in for help from their brothers and sisters. I think a lot of times we're so prideful that we're always the first ones to offer help to somebody, the last ones to ever ask for it. And I think that stems a lot of issues.
Well, I think that's
with
something
suicide and isolation.
Well, absolutely. Well, I think that's something that's inbred into us in the military.
To suck it up and handle your shit and move forward with the mission.
It's almost to the point that you actually end up feeling awkward when you do receive any type of gratuity from an individual.
Oh, dude, it's that
there's this awkward feeling that tears you up inside where you're like, fuck, I just used somebody.
Yeah.
Or I just used somebody. Or like in my case, like because of kind of the toxic relationships that have been in my past and the models that have been presented to me as far as my upbringing, I always question whether or not someone's giving something to me out of the goodness of their heart or if there's strings attached to it.
I have that same issue. I have that same issue when I have this issue.
Like, what do I owe you now because you gave me something? Well, so that always goes on in my head.
I have this issue where people are like overly kind to me. I get suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, people are generally kind to me, and it's taken me a while to learn when someone is actually being very kind to me. And some, you know, I've dealt with sociopaths in my history and stuff like that. That, you know, and I've learned from those behaviors, and I've come to become very distrustful of people. And I'm starting to learn how to still trust but still keep people. I tend to keep people at arm's distance because of it.
Yeah.
A lot of times, having dealt with sociopathic behaviors, and, you know, realize, okay, you're nice to my face, but behind my back you're shitting on me kind of thing. It's like, now when people are overly nice, I start to, I don't know if I automatically sense it or I look for it. And I think part of my brain, unfortunately, is trying to look for that, detect it, and then look for a reason to push people off so I don't pass them in. But I think the other part of it is
confirmation bias.
Yeah.
That's a confirmation bias, or like what we could consider, damn, I forgot the term. Oh, brain fart. Anyway, yeah, that confirmation bias, we're looking to confirm our own bias.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh yeah, see, that guy's fucked up, he's an asshole. Oh, so self-fulfilling prophecy is what I'm saying. Like, oh, see, like these people are coming into my life now. Oh, look, they just started pulling some shady shit, and now I get to push them away because, oh yeah, look, I was right. People suck.
Because it's easier to push away than try and people know me, I'm a confrontational person. If I have an issue, I will bring it up to you. What I don't like is when someone tries to deflect. You know, like the type of person I am, if someone comes up to me with an issue like, hey dude, I'm mad at you. Oh, tell me, what's up? What did I do? How can I make you feel better about it? Even I think maybe I wasn't wrong.
Or let's have the conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's have the conversation to deduce what's going on.
What I hate is when I go to people and say, hey man, I got an issue, or I felt like you did me wrong here, and they go, well, that's your fucking problem.
Right.
And that tells me, you know what, dude? It was you. There was an issue there.
Absolutely.
Or, oh, you think you're being a little oversensitive. That's another thing too. It's like, you know, it's like, well, no, I actually felt like you wronged me there, and I tolerate a lot with you.
Yeah.
And I'm being kind of oversensitive. It's address the issue with me. You know, help me out here trying to understand the situation. Maybe I thought of something wrong. But when you deflect like that, it kills me. And that's when I tend to, for me, it'd be easier to push people away if I have an issue with them. Now I'm just kind of just like, you know what, I'm going to cool off. Because I was telling you earlier, it's like sometimes it's hard for me to, I'm always trying to find the logic in things, the object logic. You know?
Absolutely.
And be like, okay, let me put aside my emotion, push some logic through this, and try and articulate my thoughts and feelings in a logical manner rather than an emotional manner. And I'm always trying to find a logic in things and stuff like that. So oftentimes I even question myself whether what I'm feeling is right. Like, should I be feeling like this? Maybe let me look at the logic of it. Maybe maybe I should push it aside. So I think a lot of those problems that we have as veterans on the inside, we oftentimes don't even want to call people out for that shit. You know, and we just rather just push people, and we become isolated in that, you know, dealing with civilians that aren't our own, you know, friends like in college, you know, we tend to isolate ourselves because we realize we get out and we're like, all our buddies leave. And, you know, I spent a lot of my time before I got out on duty watching my buddies leave, and I realized I wouldn't see them again until years later, if at all.
We're good. Keep going. Just, you know.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'll make friends when I get out and go to college. I'm sitting in college, I'm sitting in a classroom, and someone says something dark. And everyone gasps at it, and you're the guy in the corner going, and everyone looks at you all of a sudden like, oh, you're a monster. You're like, oh man, these are not my friends, because that would have gone over great with my brothers.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you start to feel isolated, and you start to feel a little alone, and you realize, look around the room, and like, you took for granted that when you're in a room full of guys in the military doing a brief, you know, every single one of those guys, if someone came in, would take a bullet for you in a heartbeat, would have your back, would fight for you. I know, sitting across from you, you and I can rely on each other to take care of each other. Right. I know we've met a few times, we talked to each other like that. We've hung out a couple times, but I know there's love between you and I as a brother, that as Marines, that you'll have my back no matter what. I can rely on that.
Yeah.
When we start to realize that the people around us that haven't served, that feeling of like, man, I truly can't rely on you to save my life if I needed you. That's a humbling feeling. That's a heartbreaking feeling to realize that, yeah, I can rely on you for telling me my homework, need me for a beer.
Yeah.
But if I came out to you, opened my heart to you about shit I got going in my life, you're not gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. You're not gonna deal with me. And then you start to really feel alone. And then we always have that feeling inside like, oh, fucking suck it up, pussy. And each one of us feels that inside. We're hardest on ourselves. And I know if I had a problem, I could call you up in the middle of the night and you'd be like, bro, meet you somewhere, fucking let's talk, shit like that.
Yeah.
But inside my head, I'd feel like a pussy. I feel like weak. Like, man, why am I so weak? And it kind of sucks. And it just goes worse and worse and worse, that self-doubt. And that self-hatred. And then you start like, man, I'm a fucking weak bitch. I wasn't like this in the military. I wasn't like this in the Marine Corps.
Right.
It just gets worse. And
so there's two things that you're talking about that are two emotions that are hard for people to identify with. Guilt and shame. Right? You're feeling guilty for your emotions. And then you feel shameful for having them.
Yeah.
And then you feel guilty for reaching out. And then you feel shame for reaching out. So it's like this vicious cycle, dude, if you really think about it, where it's like, God damn it. But so yeah, I've been there. I've been exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Having my own business, trying to rely on people before to help me out, not having that same trust, having people steal from me, having people take advantage of me.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. Hey man, but it is what it is, man. Like,
and there's even our own brothers that do that shit.
Absolutely.
There's people out there that will defraud us, or their own brothers, just for their own gain. That's that very semper I, not semper fi mentality.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing is now, and that's why I say this, I was actually watching a video that I posted up on my personal YouTube channel a little while ago. It was like 2.5 years ago, where I was pissed off after coming back from the VA. And there's some things in there that I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad I've evolved mentally from some of that stuff. But I did say in there, like, veterans heal veterans.
I agree.
I think that is one of the key things for us to understand. And I think what you're talking about with that is exactly this, where we've all been basically trained together so we understand and we know that each one of those individuals has the same knowledge. And within them, they have instilled some of the same virtues, right? So like, as much as there wasn't everyone in the Marine Corps that abided by honor, courage, and commitment, we know that another Marine will pretty much uphold some of those values, or to some extent, right? We understand what type of level they've been basically trained to. We know that they can run 3 miles. We know that they can ruck a pack, or, hump a pack. We know that
there's a standard we can hold them to.
Absolutely.
And expect out of them.
Absolutely. But then the other thing too is the fact that they've been through the same shit that we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And that really opens the doors for a lot of stuff. And that's essentially where I'm trying to go with this, is it's like, hey, here I am. I'm a veteran. I've been through fucking hell, dude. Like, I've been through the fucking literal hell. you know, knocking on fucking death's door, you know, contemplating suicide, having such depressive and anxiety episodes that I was like crippled. Mm-hmm. And I fucking got myself out of it, right?
How did you get yourself out of it?
Oh man, I had to do things that I never thought I'd have to do. I had to tackle, the first thing was going inside. That was the first thing, was going inside myself. And in going inside myself, I had to learn my own value. I had to learn that I was important. I had to learn that the only savior that's going to come and save Corey Capella is fucking Corey Capella. You know what I'm saying? And when I was at rock bottom and I was sitting there and I felt the fucking darkness of death sweeping over me, and I was like, in a way, like spiritually screaming for something, the only thing that came was that voice that's been inside my head the entire time. And it was like, hey, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, like, here I am. And then that moment it clicked. It was like, damn, dude, like, you're a fucking powerful motherfucker. Like, pick yourself up and climb. Pick yourself up and get out of here. No one else is going to do it for you. You got to do it. But the thing is, you got to want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the key thing to everyone out there is like, people are like, man, I just want things to get better. Do you really? Do you really want it? And are you willing to start searching within yourself and respecting yourself enough to give that gift to yourself? And that's what ended up having to happen for me is I had to go inside and I had to say to myself, like, damn, my life is the most important gift that I know of, right? It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I fucking know. And I had to say, like, I truly want to get better. And then from there, I had to go through a series of just introspections and try to figure out, dude, where the fuck are you fucking up? Where do you have these limiting belief systems in your life? What type of relationships do you have in your life that are also, you know, helping to formulate or to continue those types of limiting beliefs? And you know what you need to do? You need to do the hard thing and you need to say, out of here. You know what I'm saying? I had to look at patterns and I had to see where every single time I would step off that path of success. And that was one of the biggest things. I had this fear of success. I had this fear of achievement. I had this fear of attaining. Because for some reason, and I'll blame it on society, I'll blame it on upbringing, I'll blame it on like there's a lot of stuff out there. You'll probably hear me talk about it later. But I think that we've been raised to believe that we are sacrificial animals. You know what I'm saying? Like that we are constantly supposed to sacrifice ourselves, so much so that we are not allowed to attain levels of stardom or success or because
you're speaking my language, man.
Because essentially what we think, we feel guilty. We think that we think that's selfishness, and we believe that selfishness is evil. And it's encoded into our being, especially being someone who was willing to go and sacrifice themselves, their body, their soul, whatever. Like, I was willing to go and die for my country, for my people. And you come back and those types of things, like I said, they're just very limited beliefs. We don't believe that we are good. We believe that we are just whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You think that's why we always feel so awkward when someone says thank you for your service?
Absolutely.
Every time someone says that, I'm like,
notice a pushback too. Like,
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, you're on Mentalton, and we like make fun of it because we do feel awkward, and we don't really talk about that. You know.
Yeah. It's almost turned into a joke. Like, well, you're welcome for my service. And,
well, I also do think that's part of our society where people don't really truly mean it. There are some people that walk up to you and really thank you, but it's become like a taboo or a faux pas now, where it's like,
well, it's something people don't really
know
feel
what
like
to say.
They have to say.
Yeah,
it's like saying, like when you say like, "Hey, man, how you doing?"
Right.
You don't really care about.
I'm good.
You don't really care. Yeah, you just move on. It's something to say, and people say it. It's like when I, in a conversation, for some reason, my military history comes up, or something like that. People just stop me mid sentence, go, "Oh, by the way, sorry to interrupt. Thank you for your service." Like,
right.
Thank you. I appreciate that, but please don't interrupt me. Just so you get out of your way and say it.
Like, it's almost like saying like a Hail Mary or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, oh, if I don't say this to that person, then I'm a bad person. or they're gonna think I'm an asshole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like looking at the perspective of the other person.
And I just don't know what to say. Thank you for you don't even know what to say.
I just go, oh, it's no problem.
I
even do the same gay hand motion.
Yeah,
like
I
no
appreciate it. Thank you. I always tend to say I appreciate it. But back to what you're saying, just that general feeling of I have to be humble, and people will tell me I'm pretty cocky from time to time. I can be arrogant. I can be an arrogant prick, but I'll be honest with you, deep down inside, dude, I've never really felt good about myself. Like I've never done enough, and I think maybe it's something I should put on. But growing up as a kid, dude, I was 119 pounds when I joined the Marine Corps.
Damn.
At 6 foot, I got my ass kicked every day. I got bullied every day in high school, and so I still think of myself as that 119 pound kid. That little guy inside me. And I joined, after 9/11, I enlisted March 2002 and went to boot camp, around August, in 2002 and joined. But, and I picked up a little weight here and there. But, I've always, and maybe it's just my upbringing and childhood, but I've always never really felt good about myself. I'm never doing enough. I'm always very, very hard on myself that I'm just, even now, running a nonprofit, I'm not doing enough. What can I be doing more? What,
in a way, it's almost kind of like looking for validation too.
It is.
Would you say?
Well, that's the thing. We kind of want validation,
right.
But we don't want validation. We want that little bit of, hey, do a good job, but we don't want to go out and seek it and ask for it. We don't want to be overt about it. We want someone to initiate and say, hey, man, just want to say good job. And actually, that's how I got involved with Alone and Unafraid. The guys with our T-shirts now is because Pete called me up. The owner says, hey man, I'm driving home one day. He goes, my name is Pete, dude. I just want to say, Marines won't say it, but I just want to say what you're doing is really fucking awesome. It's a really good job. And he's like, people won't say it, but I'll tell you right now, what you're doing is great. And I was like, oh man, thank you. He's like, I want to be a part of it. I want to help you. I want to donate shirts to you guys. And the guy pulled through. He fucking donated a whole bunch of shirts, but.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate that.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. So, but
the other side of it too is that most people don't follow through with any of that shit. So, that sucks.
And honestly, and that just, that is relevant. It's just like we won't tell each other good job, and it's nice to have that validation every once in a while, but we won't go out of our way to look for it. And try and pat ourselves on the back. That's like taking a selfie of you feeding a homeless person and go, look at me.
Right. Well, that's complete narcissism trying to feed something. You brought up two really big points there, and this is something that I'm trying to bring to the masses because being such an enlightened individual, I have to. Anyway, so you brought up two really cool points there. So one is the inner child. Inner child work is huge, I think, because knowing me personally and also taking kind of a role of everyone that I served with, I'm big on psychoanalyzing and trying to figure out people's past, right? Especially during the time frame that we joined. You and I joined around the same time, and we were invading Iraq, or we had just invaded Iraq, and it was very, very much like this was full blown war. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to war.
It's a whole shitload.
I watched the type of people that joined at that time frame, and I would say that almost everyone that I served with had a very similar story as to what they believed their value was. And that they, in some way, have a wounded inner child. So for you, it's like, I always reflect back to this 116-pound individual, and I'm embarrassed of that individual, right? And I'm always trying to fight against that individual because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be embarrassed like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be bullied and pushed around. There's a lot of shame and guilt associated with that individual for you being that weak and that vulnerable at that point. And that's what draws us to the Marine Corps. That's exactly that draws us to the Marine Corps because we're like, whoa, look at those dudes.
I can be that guy.
Right.
And I want to be
I'm going to be a fucking huge, muscular baby killer.
It was funny, I was very skinny. When I was a corporal, I weighed probably no more than 150 pounds. I got pictures back in the day, just in Thailand. I look back and go, holy shit, and I couldn't get laid because, the girls I'm trying to date, it doesn't look good when the girls you're trying to date outweigh you in their chest. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
absolutely.
I had chest like, but I could run.
That's the skinny Marine thing. Where it's always like you see the skinny Marine and he's always with like a 280-pound chest.
That's the Midwestern.
That's exactly.
You know, and I will say I've done that as a wingman. Yeah. But I would never get into that relationship with a big, you know, because I'm like, oh, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know,
you got scared literally. Like I've never really been with that big of a woman, but I'm sure you'd be scared that like you might get rolled on top of and suffocated.
But I could run my ass off. I could run. I could run 1730s, man. Jesus. I was hauling ass, you know. But I could only do 10 pull-ups because I had chest like a 9-year-old Asian girl, man. I wasn't doing shit, you know. Yeah. So, but you know, I'll go back to the issue with confidence and stuff like that. You know, since we did that Modern Mountain Man Rendezvous, and I called up Rudy, and he agreed to come out and be our guest expert, Rudy Reyes, and
shout out to Rudy.
Shout out to Rudy. No, he was awesome, and. I met Rudy here and there. I've seen him at different events and stuff like that, and always said hello. He's always been very kind to me. And then he came, but I've always felt like I looked like shit standing next to him. And I think any one of us can honestly feel like shit.
Beautiful man.
Yeah, very beautiful man. I mean, if you had to have a gay experience, would it be so bad if it was Rudy, right? Kind of thing. So anyway,
wait, would you be big spoon or little spoon? Would you be the catcher or the receiver?
How many drinks have I had? Right. So. But anyway, I got off the phone with Rudy, and every time...
Divert from subject?
Yeah. Every time I got off the phone with Rudy, I feel like I just got laid. Because he's like, hey, man, how's it going? He's always on. He's like, hey, man, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. You know, all right, see you later, bye. But I'm like, I had questions. I had things. But anyway, so he said he's coming out, and I'm like, I looked at myself, and I'm like, I look like a pile of shit right now. I was about 230 pounds talking to him. And so I started going to the gym. Like, I don't want to look like shit next to Rudy.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of days of going to the gym, I realized it wasn't for Rudy anymore. It wasn't so I could look good in pictures.
Right.
It was for me.
Right.
And I realized, like, I felt good. Like, when I walked to the gym, I had that feeling of lethality. And I realized that none of us, the problem that we really have is that none of us feel as lethal as we once did when we served at the peak of our career. When we were that corporal sergeant, when we were lance corporal struggling to pick up rank. Think of it. Yeah. Mind, body, and soul. You will never be as lethal as you were when you were in your mind. You were the most confident person. You can look at any person and go, well, I got my tan belt, I can kill you with my napkin. Right. You know, you were that confident. You felt like you could charge a fucking hill, a machine gun nest, and smoke check every fucking buddy. And your spirit, you had that warrior spirit that I could fucking do anything. And then physically, you were running 3 miles every day, doing pull-ups, you're fucking ground fighting. You were the most lethal as you were. And
you're also surrounded by a lot of other warriors.
Yeah.
And that was like
lethal. You were in an environment of lethality, and your constant goals, everything about what you did was to further your lethal skills and abilities. You know, my job was a radio operator. I love being a radio operator. I love being calm. And I was in 112, and Com Platoon, when I first got there, was the shit in battalion. We were the shit, you know. We were the most, we had the best PT scores and stuff like that, and I liked that idea. But now as you get out, you start to realize you start gaining weight. Oh, I don't want to run 3 miles anymore. And it's almost being because you get fat to spite the core. You grow a beard to spite it, you know.
Nobody talks about this too. Yeah, for sure.
And then you realize
I would sleep until 8 or 9 because hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not your bitch anymore.
And then one day you're in the shower and you look down as you're jerking off and you see this gut and you're like,
you see this
fuck,
fat
dude,
upper dick area. You got this pouch going on.
Exactly.
Your pubes are poking out fucking 3 inches.
Fuck? And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go run. And then I'll go fucking put on my plate carrier and run fucking 2 miles like a psychopath in my neighborhood in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
And next morning I wake up going, I'm never gonna fucking do that again.
You run like maybe 6 months later.
Yeah, you do. And so I realized as I've been working out is, everyone says when you exercise, you start to feel good and you lose depression. Mm-hmm. And the hardest thing when you have anxiety, depression, I admit, I had crippling anxiety. I have little bouts of depression here and there. But since I started working out, and I cut out energy drinks.
Oh shit!
Fucking big time. I haven't gone back, dude. Since August 1st, I cut them out. I started running every day, and I slowed down the running a little bit, but I still work out every chance I get. You know, and I haven't lost the weight that I wanted to, but I still feel more lethal than I was. Right. My mind is a little bit more confident in myself. When we go to the gym, and there's a lot of narcissists in us, you know. you go in there, you fucking throw a couple weights, your arms start to feel a little tight, your chest feels tight, and you look in the mirror like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that. I want to get it bigger. That little bit of narcissism. Your body says, hey, you go back in the gym. You look good. Sure. Now go look at yourself in the mirror, fuckhead. Yeah, you look good, don't you? Now get to the gym some more.
Yeah.
I once.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not.
I mean, just a little bit of narcissism or a little bit of self-confidence or a little bit of it's what it comes down to is we're looking for self-esteem again.
Yeah.
And this is the next topic that I wanted to talk about because you're talking about exactly that, where it was like, kind of feeling bad about wanting accolades, right? Wanting people to tell you you're doing a good job. I think the direction that we want to go now is this. So you talk about the lethality while being in the core. I would say that one of the biggest reasons why it doesn't serve us or didn't serve us is because we were actually utilizing the entire history and the entire image of the Marine Corps to kind of like stoke us up to be that big. I'm a Marine. And think about everything that comes back from that, right? Like every battle, every type, like it's like street cred. Do you know what I'm saying?
I would say every job I've had since I was in the Marine Corps is because I've had USMC on my resume.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to exploit that experience for personal gain.
Right.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but yeah. I mean, we do puff our chest out as that being a Marine because, we have that idea in our head. You got to come to our boot camp, but we can go to boot camp. We can go to any branch and get promoted. It's
we're the toughest motherfuckers in the world.
And that's why I joined the Marine Corps because I looked at myself as 119 pounds going, when I was graduating high school going, man, my grades sucked. I graduated with 1.7 GPA. I'm not a complete fucking moron. I just had other distractions. What I mean?
You're a dude.
Yeah, it was like, are you those tits? Yeah, nice.
What are those?
Even then, I wasn't getting laid. It was like fucking. So, but 1.7 GPA, and I grew up in northern Minnesota. And my dad didn't want me to work in the mines, and he worked in the mines up there, and you go to Walmart. But that's where all the pregnant chicks go after graduate high school. We got the Harvard on the highway, which is our community college, is what we call it, the Harvard on the highway.
Nice.
And I wasn't ready to go to college. And it wasn't a bad college, actually a very, very good college. It's just, I didn't have the grades and my parents
weren't ready for it.
Yeah. And maybe I wasn't going to force my parents to pay for college. They could barely afford for me. Mm-hmm. My parents both worked their fucking asses off to provide for me. Really fucking hard. And the thing is, it's like, I wasn't going to waste their money because I knew I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
So 9/11 happened, and I had already been thinking about the military. An Army recruiter called me up. I was like, fuck that shit. Navy, I was like, no. Air, Coast Guard. And then the fucking Marine sent me this goddamn little DVD.
Yeah.
Little fucking game DVD. It was like, hello, Marine, fucking go over here, blow up tanks. You fucking click, 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 click. This is 2002, so the technology back then was obviously primo, 900 megahertz processor, all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I'm like, but I used to wear this Army visor all the time. I said Army 01, but I was going to ring. I just like the visor, and stuff like that. But, and I joined, it's like, one thing I remember, 9/11 was interesting. 9/11 happened, and we were taking our class picture. And it happened the moment we were outside. Like, we walked outside the class picture, normal United States of America, getting through security with your shoes on, possibly bringing a pocket knife, you know.
Absolutely.
And we walked back in. A new world,
right.
the new post 9/11 world that it is. It was a shit show, like a clusterfuck, and it was like, wow, we're acting in the world. And I remember the first images I ever saw of a C-130 shitting out parachutes out the back of it over Kabul. I'm like, the black, white, high. I'm talking about. I was like, planes going, and you're like, you're getting fucking some right now. They're fucking getting some, I'm like, I want to be that guy. And I realized I didn't want to be in the Army. And this is a Ranger, I believe. Back to what you're saying as a Marine, I think there's something that we get out and we have this feeling, this arrogance, if you will, which, it's, look, we're known for being a little cocky, a little arrogant. But we also feel we have the right to be.
But I'd say that what ends up happening is after we get out, we lose that fuel, and then that deflates us, and then that's what launches us into, I'm the veteran, or like trying to cling on to it, right? People are trying to fight back for it, but you could see people get depressed, people end up taking their lives because of it, and it's, for me, what I would say is because that wasn't the right fuel for people to be operating on, and you kind of hit on it when you're talking about your story about going back to the gym, and you're like, man, 5 days in, I started to realize like the fuel that you were using initially to get yourself back in the gym was no longer the fuel that you were using. Instead, the fuel that you're using was, dude, I feel good. This is good for me. Mm-hmm. So the fuel you're using now is like the me fuel, and that's where I'm at.
That's beautiful.
It's no longer, and that's where I'm trying to get everybody else to be at too. Is it's like the reason why I get up at 6 a.m. every morning is no longer now because staff sergeant's going to come kick in the door, or I'm late for formation, or I need to get to PT, or even when I own a business, because my customers rely on me to open the doors at this time. It's now I get up at 6 a.m. because it feels good for me to do this, because I'm starting my day off right. Now I'm going through my motions in order to build my day up to be the best version of myself. You know what I'm saying? So now the fuel is I'm the one motivating myself. I'm the one motivating myself to get in the gym. It's no longer, like I said, I have to go and PT because otherwise I'm going to be on BCP, or I need to do this because I need to look good in my chucks. It's more of like, I'm doing this because that's what's good for my health.
It's personal responsibility. You're taking charge of your own life now. You're not waiting for someone to tell you, hey, get the fuck up and get your ass out there. Now you realize that, look,
it's what I call, sorry to cut you off, but it's what I call investing in yourself. If you start looking at yourself as the most valuable thing in the world, you realize that I'm doing this because future me is going to look and feel like this. And that's important to me. And that's my motivation to get out and do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm going with this whole war within as well, is it's a self-idealization minus the whole narcissist kind of mindset, right? Yeah. Because the narcissist version kind of applies a little bit to the Marine Corps, where it's egotism, right? The reward I'm getting is feeding my ego.
It's a world of alpha males.
It's a fleeting thing. It's like if I lived every single day to see how many likes I'm getting on that thing, that's only feeding my ego. But the thing about that is that the ego can only be satiated for so long. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with narcissism, is it can only be satiated in a certain way. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it's more of like an egoism, where I'm realizing that my self-esteem is very important to me, but that's because I'm the one validating myself. It's no longer other people out there validating who I am. It's me validating myself. And then I do get fueled up every once in a while when someone hits me up on Facebook and they're like, hey dude, like what you're doing is really helping me out.
That helps keep you going. That helps fuel what you're doing.
It keeps me going. It lets me know that I'm on the right path. Exactly. Every one of us needs that. That's why we could all use a mentor. That's why we can all use certain review styles in life where we know that we're on the path. But I think people like you and I, where we're very much all about going out into the world and trying to achieve and attain, we're going into these woods, right? We're going into the void. We're going into the darkness. We're trailblazing. Mm-hmm. We're starting a trail all on our own, and it's good sometimes every once in a while. You know how it is, like when you're out hiking, like there's times where you're like, fuck, I might be lost. Mm-hmm. And then you see that trail marker, you see that cairn up ahead, and you're like, all right, cool. Like, hey, I might have made my own trail, but I'm back on the big thing. I'm back on the big picture, on the big purpose of where I want to go and where, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm climbing that mountain, and I know that marker just let me know that things are good. But in the interim between these markers, like, everything is about my self-reflection. Like you brought that up a lot earlier. You are a very introspective person. That's something that needs to be a tool that we need to start teaching people more and more. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sitting here saying we need to teach it, but I don't know how to teach it, to be honest with you. Other than, well, actually, I think you hit the nail on the head. Other than starting to promote reason and critical thinking early on, where people are able to step back from this idea that they have and be like, okay, well, what are the different pieces that fit into it to formulate this logic puzzle? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's huge. And what I'm trying to promote right now for other individuals is like, hey, fuck, man, like, I'm unhappy. Well, the thing that I realize is I've gone through a lot of these different patterns, and a lot of these patterns have repeated. what's the lowest common denominator in a lot of those? Me. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the shit that's going on in my life. Well, what am I doing? Like, what beliefs do I hold in myself, and what things do I continue to repeat that are causing the same exact results to occur? And the fact of the matter is, I have XYZ going on in my life, right? I have a poor belief system about myself. I have addictions in certain areas that I fail to realize, right? It's like what you talked about. You're like, man, I cut out energy drinks. That's huge introspection. Those things are probably causing, in some way, shape, or form, probably causing some forms of anxiety in your life.
Oh, I've noticed.
Causing things, you know what I'm saying?
I noticed as soon as if I have one, you know, I cut it off for a couple weeks and then I had one and went mentally, like fucking just one little Red Bull took me down like a fucking dinosaur, dude. Just fucking dropped me in my mentality where I was like, I gotta pick myself back up. You know, one thing I also started doing too was St. John's Wort.
Oh yeah, I saw you post that, and I started taking it again too.
Yeah, it was just huge. It helps out, you know. And at least recently, I weaned myself off, and I realized there for a while if I didn't take it, that I would just go down again.
Yeah,
and then I started weaning myself off. You know, St. John's Wort. Yeah, I started weaning myself off, and now I'm pretty stable up until I'm not. You know, but you're absolutely right that we need to start taking responsibility and start looking at ourselves for problems and going instead of blaming it on
the external,
the environment. Like sit down and start looking at yourself and go, correct what's wrong with you first. And you know what, every day I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing that I can blame myself for first. And I'm always very hard on myself. Like I told you, I admit I'm a cocky person, but really inside, oftentimes I'm pretty hard on myself and insecure about myself. I'm trying to figure out, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not asking enough, or I'm asking too much of people and stuff like that. I'm constantly trying to.
Well, wouldn't you say that's a form of care, though?
A form of care, but almost too much to the point where I'm trying to please everybody, and I'm not pleasing myself. And a couple years ago, you know, I started realizing like I can be a dick, I can be an asshole, but I'm the same guy that if you cut me off in traffic, I would flip you off, but if you blew a tire, I would still pull over and help you out. I'd give you a little shit for it and laugh my ass off, but I'd still fucking, you know, do it. But, you know, but I realized, like, I like who I am. And it took me a long time to really realize, like, I like who I am. You know, for a long time I felt, I'm not trying to woe is me kind of fucking bullshit, but
get into it, man.
I felt
don't
guilty.
feel guilty about
I felt guilty, you know, that I hadn't, I'd never deployed. You know, I was an artillery unit as a radio operator, and we just never deployed. 2002, 2006, you know. There was one unit deployed, Charlie Battery, deployed for a little while, and I couldn't jump on that pump. And but once I got out, you know, they had been slated to be a provisional MP company going over there in the unit. I'm glad I didn't go with my unit. I'm glad I didn't go with them because I found out from a guy now that joined 112 after I went there. You know, the CEO and the fucking sergeant major wrote themselves up for Bronze Stars because a bullet flew past them and they pulled a Marine out of a vehicle and got them in their vehicle, like shit like that, you know. Before we left, some of us were getting out.
Like every unit over there.
We were getting out, and do you remember that photo of the Marine laying out in the middle of the street, and then another Marine come up and grabbing him, and the next photo was him laying in the street? Do you remember that? This is back in the beginning of the war.
I feel like I've seen it. Now that
he's laying there, a guy tried to grab him, all of a sudden he's laying on the corner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sergeant Major at the time held up a picture and said, those of you not going to combat, this should be you right here. And I said, that's why I fucking not going with this unit, because you guys are fucking crazy, shitty leadership. And 112 actually started getting looked at as like, why do you guys have a low re-enlistment rate? Why do you guys have a low retention rate? What the fuck is going on over there? And I think when I first got there, we had a great unit. We had Lieutenant Colonel Redmond, Sergeant Major Smith, the guys in my comm platoon. Sergeant, he was Lieutenant at the time. He's up there now. He's fucking just typical Italian, East Coast Italian, like fucking full of attitude and flair, but just a fucking great guy.
Yeah.
Thurston, my NCOs, we're all great. And then the new leadership coming in, they started going out, you know, and that was like the golden time of the Marine Corps for me. And you know, and so I've regretted not deploying and stuff like that. I got recalled. We went to MOCOM, and they were like, "You're all going to be garrison units." I was sitting in a room full of NCOs. We're all infantry and radio guys. I saw guys I went to comm school with there, and mostly infantry. And we got recalled, and they made me a base MP, which I was not a good MP. There's a whole different culture to MPs, and I'll tell you, it's funny. It's like people give MPs a hard time. Well, I can look at it objectively speaking and understand why, because they're not like the ground side guys, being RD and infantry and stuff like that, or intel, because they get in their car and they drive for 12 hours, and their job is to see that 1% of the Marine Corps everyone tells us about. They see 1% of the Marine Corps 100% of the time, and
I'd say that they're bogged down by systems too.
Well,
it's kind of like the police forces in our country today too. They're just bogged down by the bureaucracy, so much so that they have their hands tied, where it just makes them look at everyone in like a black and white type of situation. Because if they don't, they're going to get beat up by the bureaucracy when they get back to the office.
Oh yeah, and I've gotten in trouble for not writing DUIs or not writing tickets. I had the nickname 10-8 verbal for a long time, because it was like, hey, I'm 10-8 verbal. Like I pull people over and just fucking go.
Well, good for you.
Ticket. But what I understand about them is
goddamn MPs.
The reason why they are the way they are is because they don't know what it's like to go out to the field with someone and watch their back. They don't see, the only time they see a Marine throughout the day, their 12-hour shift, is either they're on gate or they're in a patrol vehicle. And half the time they're in the patrol vehicle,
and they're
just by themselves. The only time they see the rest of their guys is in the morning for brief and afternoon for debrief and PT from time to time.
Yeah.
Whereas, we're in our units, RD or infantry or intel, you see your guys all day long. You're with Marines all day long. You take care of them. Out in the field, the worst thing it's got, the louder the laughs got. You know how it is to take care of a Marine. So the MP nature is a whole different culture. But anyway, back to being said, we got recalled to be base MPs. There was a group of guys, and I'm a dead, and we're making bank. We were getting recalled to be, we were making per diem, BAH, reimbursement for housing, fucking sergeant's pay, all that shit. Fucking was making the guy sick down to the leg, fucking, doing our travel claims and shit like that. But it's just, for the longest time, I had that guilt that I hadn't deployed.
Yeah.
And after a long time, I didn't realize, like, and I think more along the lines, because, everyone was talking, I got a car, I did this, I did that. And I felt at a certain point, like, I hadn't done what I had joined to do. I hadn't done what I was supposed to do. I liked the idea of being a radar operator. I joined to do communications. I liked the idea of it. Like, I understood, like, you can't fucking do shit without comm. That's what we tell ourselves anyway. And I liked the idea. And then after I realized, like, you know what, fuck it. And some people will tell me, maybe you shouldn't have said that you weren't, combat or whatever. I'm like, fuck it. You know what? I like who I am. If you don't like me because I hadn't fucking been to combat, go fuck yourself. That's another person I want to be around.
I'll agree with that too, man. Absolutely.
That's the way I've always been now. And I look at guys that, I've seen them been to combat, and they want to boost themselves up, like, I was a sniper, and turns out you weren't. Like, you'd have already been to combat. Some of the fucking nastiest shit. Why the fuck did you bother boosting yourself up? Like, who gives a fuck, man? Mm-hmm. You did your part. What does it matter? Why do you have to boost yourself up?
Well, one of the things that the reason why I would even get into this with you and talk about this is that we can't and we should not beat ourselves up over our past. From what it sounds like with you, and if there's many of us out there, we would understand, you don't really have a lot of say over where you go and what you do in the Marine Corps.
Well, keep in mind, I'm not looking for anyone to make excuses for me or anything like that. Make me feel good.
Where I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to go with this is trying to, like, I'm also trying to, there's going to be listeners out there that are going to listen to your story, and they're going to equivocate to it. They're going to listen and say, man, I resonate with that. Mm-hmm. And they could be in a way worse mental and spiritual and psychological state than you are. And what I would say to that is, like, I hate saying don'ts. Try not to beat yourself up over your past. You had no control over it. Society and some of the people within our community would call you a coward, or they would try to make you feel like less of a person because of it. The key thing is, and where I'm trying to go with all of this is, you keep saying, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I think that I look at terms, and I try to always break down terms and what people are trying to say through the terms. For me personally, I love myself, right? And I know it's a tough thing to to get. But I would say, going back to the story that I told you earlier about me being at the depths and like literally feeling death over me and like I was going to kill myself, and then learning just how valuable I was. That was the opening steps to finally realizing that me loving myself was the most important thing, and it was opening the door to it.
Yeah.
Right? So much so to the point where now every single day of my life I practice self-love in some form or shape or manner. And I know, dude, it sounds gay, I know, right?
No. The Marine in me is going, that's what she said,
Yeah, absolutely. Or like
pulled your joint this morning.
Oh yeah, what kind of love do you do for yourself, buddy? But like, so I'm a huge proponent of meditation. I think it's just an insanely amazing tool to help people heal, especially from TBI or PTSD or any type of psychological issue. But for me personally, the practice of meditation is actually like me dedicating 20 minutes each day to practice self-love, where it's a non-negotiable. This will happen. I'm setting aside, it's like a date, dude. It's like taking a woman out on a date in a way, but I'm like taking myself out on a date, where it's like, hey dude, you're the most important person, or you're the most important thing in your life. We're going to sit here for 20 minutes and we're just going to figure out what the hell's going on. We're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I would say that the audience, the type of people that I'm trying to talk to here, for you, even when I started talking and I said, self-love, I can see it on your face right now where you got this like...
That's because I'm a fucking child.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also... But think about it. It's almost like when someone says, thank you for your service. You're like, oh, there's emotional shit going on right now. I'm just going to... You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, I think that learning to love yourself goes into kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, it's a separation between the egotist and the egoist, where it's like, dude, I realize now how important I am and how valuable I am. And like, I love that about me.
Yeah.
And no one's going to take that away from me. And that's essentially where I'm trying to get people to go to. And even that's where I'm challenging you to go to right now.
I'll tell you, it's funny as you talk about meditation, because everyone thinks that you're sitting in on the floor somewhere, yoga mat with legs crossed. Meditation comes in different forms.
Absolutely.
My meditation for a long time I had tried years ago, 2014 was when my depression was really, really bad. And I had spent some time in the woods, which I thought was great. It helped me out. But I had found a hobby in carving antler bone. And to me, that was my meditation. That was almost an escape from the negative thoughts, because when you think about something that brings you anxiety, your brain starts chewing on it and gets worse and worse and gets really, really critical and starts almost conjuring up negative thoughts out of nowhere. Like, hey, what about this thought? And you're like, what the fuck, dude? Where'd that come from?
It's a fucking spiral, dude. You start spiraling out of control.
So I realized...
It's like a bad high.
Yeah. And so I realized I started taking a Dremel. And I started taking these antler bones because, obviously teaching survival, the ferro rod was a big thing, and I want to start making handles for ferro rods. Antler bone. I thought that'd be really fucking cool. So I started carving these antler bones with a Dremel. I get I found online the dental bits, I could get really fucking intricate in there. Yeah. And I realized the more I did that, the more I felt like I was digging a hole in my brain. And the intricate I got, the more in depth I got, the deeper that hole went. And when I get done with it, my problems had sunk themselves in that hole.
Yeah.
And the pride I had in completing that project, snapping a couple photos, put on Instagram, getting a couple likes, all right, yeah, fucking girl, right? That was the dirt over the hole. Like, I had buried that issue. By the time I was done with it, I had created something beautiful. I wouldn't say beautiful, I thought it was beautiful. And I was prideful, and that was my meditation. And it seemed like my issues had gone away, only temporarily, because those issues, you bury them, it's a zombie, dude, because that motherfucker will dig itself up and grab you by the foot and try and drag you down.
Oh, for sure, dude. I call it the monkey, dude. The monkey comes and tries to chase after you.
Exactly. And so I'd have to go back to the antler. And then I realized the more that anxiety would grab a hold of me, the better I became, because I did more and more practice to escape it. And all of a sudden I get done, and I post online, people go, hey, can I buy something for you? Like, oh shit, really? Like, you think that's good enough? And they're like, fuck yeah, I'll give you that money. And all of a sudden, you realize that the thing that you started to try and take your anxiety away has now turned into a money-making type of almost a career, a job, if you will, if you keep on with it.
Yeah.
And after a while,
well, what you're describing is art, dude.
And that can be meditation as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's
a
an
lot of
outlet.
veterans are finding that art. You know, they're finding painting. There's a recon guy that just does these mad scribbles, and just amazing. Like it looks like a crazy, like someone with a pen, but it turns out to be a grenade or something like that.
Oh, that's sick.
You know, when it comes to self-love, dude, I've been seeing. I should have her come on the show with you. Her name is Spike. She's a Navy veteran. She floats me in a pool.
Oh yeah.
I go see her every Friday. That's my self-love, as I go treat myself to that experience.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Everyone needs to find something like meditation and self. And her biggest thing is self-care. She asked people. We were at a event.
Self-care, I would say. So self-love, and then right underneath it would be self-care.
Mm-hmm. I think the two kind of go in hand in hand.
Absolutely.
You know. And she sure asks people when she talks to them, what do you do for self-care? And some of the big veterans gang are like, what are you talking about?
I think I met Spike before too. I met her down at the Vet TV, what's it called? What was it for New Year's?
Yeah. I was running security over there. Yeah, you were there. Yeah,
she was there.
She was there. Yeah, absolutely.
I recall.
And just
crazy red hair, kind of doo-woppy, dressed up chick.
She's definitely got that the kind of Rosie Riveter look. Yeah. No, I tell you, she's the sweetest person you'll ever meet, dude. She's just you sit down with her, she can get along with anybody. She's got these universal personalities. You can just fall in love with her and instant, like, you're my sister, come here, you know. But she's awesome. But yeah, dude, self-care is the biggest thing, and I think going to the gym is part of that, the self-care. Biggest thing for me, what's that? Diet, yeah.
That's the hardest one, honestly. That's one thing that I'm going to try to help a lot of people out with too, is starting to promote that. But continue.
But anyway,
I just wanted to whisper that in people's ears.
No, I hear you.
When it comes to health,
going out in the woods, you know, and that's kind of like how Triple B came is when I was teaching for my survival school. You know, I'd tell people, hey, I'm going to go out teach, and veterans be like, hey, dude, you fucking need assistant instructor? Like, that fucking sounds awesome, dude. Like, I was an infantry guy, I was grunt, you know what? I'm like, yeah, dude, well, come on out. I'll fucking buy you lunch and be my assistant instructor and stuff for the day. And assistant instructor was just something I'd tell the customers, like, who's this fucking guy? My assistant instructor. Basically, they were there to be out in the woods, and if I could sit there watching a customer looking for a point somewhere in the woods that I set, you know, and I was sitting on a rock underneath a pine tree listening to the wind blow, and all of a sudden you hear this, you know what I do? Like, bro, I need this. You know, I'm like, there might be something to this. So last year, I've been thinking about for a long time about getting veterans together and doing camping. You know, and I posted on a forum, and everyone's like, yeah, everybody else is fucking do it. But the people who ran it didn't want to do it. So I'm like, fucking, I'll go out and do it myself. You know, and I did. And so we did an Anza Borrego trip, and 12 people showed up, and everyone kind of sat there and talked, dude. And what was cool about it was group therapy. Like, you know, we as veterans, like I said, we're too prideful to reach out for help. And going down to the VA and sitting in some fucking, gray cubicle with some pre-med marking off her fucking, her noble checklist of that, I help veterans, and then fucking toss medication at you to treat PTSD, anxiety, depression, that side effects give you that shit. Or you can come sit around like warm orange glow of campfire with your brothers with a beer in the hand and talk about shit without worrying about, you know, someone taking notes and judging you. Worrying about whether, you know, you going to see a therapist is going to fuck you later on for a job in law enforcement or whatever it is. So what we found when we sat around campfires, I got this buddy of mine, he's an Italian from Boston, DJ. And he's a financial attorney, and he's 58 years old. He's actually he'll be 60 next year. He's got a triathlon fucking, you know, the Ironman fucking tat on. He's gonna do again next year. He's been fucking training his ass off, dude.
Good for him.
And he's a fucking spark plug, dude. He's sitting around a campfire and he's looking at this one guy. He's like, yeah, my finances are bad. He's like, yeah, what's your fucking problem? You know? And he's like, oh, my finances. Why don't you shut the fuck up? Come to my office on Monday. I'll take care of it. Meanwhile, have a fucking beer. Quit bitching. And he did. And he fucking guy went in Monday, and DJ picked up the phone and just took care of his debt like that. Some fucking school, like, fucking gone, dude. He can talk. So, but we're sitting on a campfire, and these guys are sitting there, and we go back to those, you were talking about, like, horror cells and that past. I don't care what discharge you got out as. I don't. To me, what's more important is how you made up for your mistake.
Absolutely. Because
we go through life, the way I have this theory about time, right? Like this, like I call the stoplight theory of time: green light, red light, or yellow light, right? And you've met those guys that They just cruise to the fucking green lights all the time. Right? You met those guys before. You're like, you got the fucking dumbest luck, dude.
Yeah.
And then guys like you and me we fucking hit every single fucking red light on the way.
Absolutely.
Well, attribute it to people's personality and the way of life. The people that hit green lights their whole way have nothing to fucking offer society because they had it easy. They've learned from nothing. They haven't had any reason to learn anything.
We have to have adversity to grow.
We do.
Yeah.
And as we hit those red lights, we develop coping mechanisms. We hit fucking issues all the time. We learn from it. And so we're sitting around a campfire, and the guys that have gone through red lights their whole life sit around and listen to a guy's issues, and you go, you know what, bro? I've been down that path. Mm-hmm. Let me grab you by the pack and drag you back off, and let me show you the way I did it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll keep you from going that mistake. So it's guys that make the most mistakes and learn from it. Because there's guys that still make mistakes and they fucking never learn. And there's nothing you can fucking do. You can roll them by the pack and drag them, and they kept walking down that fucking same dumb shit.
They're addicted to it.
Yeah.
They're addicted to that shit.
But you got guys that fucking want to learn and go, man, I was a fucking idiot. How can I unfuck myself?
Right.
And it's those guys that have more to offer. So sitting around a campfire, you got all these guys that have this fucking background experience talking to each other. And, no one wants to, it's an informal setting for you to reach out. We call it campfire therapy. And you get a couple of beers in you, and one guy says something over there, opens up, and all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I might share something, help myself a little bit. And all of a sudden dudes are opening up around the campfire with a couple of beers. I once had a conversation down at the San Diego Veterans Coalition. Some old guy from the VA comes up and goes, what's Triple B stand for? I said, you got to come down to the camp house to find out. And he's like, no, but fucking really. Like, beers, bonfire, and brotherhood. And they go, beer? You do a lot of alcohol at your events? I said, yeah. He goes, I don't know if we could help you guys, sports you guys. I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't care. I don't need you.
Yeah.
I make my own fucking money with this guy. We actually create our own events to help raise money for Triple B Adventures. The only opinions I care about are the people that we serve in that community, the members of Triple B. That's all I care about. I don't care about your fucking opinion. I don't care about the VA's opinion. And so I told the guy, I said, well, check this out, man. And I said, you work in the VA? He goes, yeah, I work in the VA. I said, people open up to you. Well, it takes a little bit, but they open up a little trust. How many sessions? They open up the first session, and it takes a couple of sessions. They go, you do a couple of sessions, and then you throw medication at them, right? People come out to the fucking campfire, and have you ever, we're alpha A-type personalities in the military.
Right.
Have you ever tried to get anybody to open out without a couple of fucking beers?
It's difficult as fuck.
It's difficult. They start getting a couple of beers in them, and they start opening up. It's the fucking truth serum, man.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they fucking pour their emotions out. And you can't help a person, you can't help heal them until they open themselves up.
Right.
Until a couple of beers, they open up, you pull them aside from the fire and go, hey man, way to fucking open up, dude. Tell me how I can hear. Tell me how I can help you. And that's the cool thing about what we do there is every person that is a senior staff at Triple B is an entrepreneur of some sorts. We know somebody.
Right.
And if we can't fucking help you personally, we'll connect you with somebody like, hey, I got my buddy John. He's a good dude. He'll fucking take care of you. Call up John, the two text him back and forth, like, hey, I'll let you two go. And then a couple of days later, you find out, hey, everything worked out. That's the type of fucking therapy that I think more veterans need to do, because I realize veterans get out and they feel like a loss of purpose, right? They get out and like, I got all these skills and abilities. And we have that ego we were talking about where we don't want to fall back into the background. We don't want to be, the fucking 9-to-5 dude guy where fucking Kathy talks about her stupid fucking cats. And that's the most exciting thing of the fucking day. We get pizza party next month. Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
We're dressing up.
Yeah, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you and your family. You're like, I swear to God, Kathy, I will pop you in the fucking nose. Get out of my fucking face,
I don't fucking care about your kids. Shut the fuck up.
I don't care. I hope your cat fucking shits on your chest in the middle of the night, right? And so we fall back into mediocrity and we hate that feeling because we're like, no, I'm more than that. Right. We want to serve a purpose again. Because in the military, we're like, I'm fucking serving a purpose. I'm useful.
Right.
Even if you're fucking weed whacking over there because you're on fucking restriction because you're a dipshit and got caught fucking drinking out in town when you weren't supposed to, you're still a part of something. Now you get out and you're like, fuck, what do I do now? What I realize is veterans need to start volunteering at other veteran organizations because there's no greater service than to serve those who serve our country. And I know it sounds fucking gay and cliche and shit like that, but when you start giving back to your brothers and sisters, helping them out, holy shit, you start filling up your body and your heart with love and affection for each other. And you realize
you still have a community.
I'm still useful. Yeah. I can help my brothers and sisters out because we get out, we have our own life experiences. You have your life experiences, Arizona teepees, peyote, shit like that. I've got my own experiences and and shit like that. And I realize that we can do a shakeout.
Yeah.
You know what a shakeout is, right? Fucking shake out someone's fucking pack.
Yep,
A buddy of mine
yep.
does it up in Mount Laguna. Fucking PC2s come up, shakes their pack out. And we can become our own outfitters. We can take your pack as a veteran and open it up and go, you don't fucking need that. And right down the bottom of the pack is all that fucking anxiety and depression. That's the hardest thing in your fucking pack to lug around. And you start walking real slow. You notice guys on hikes, you know, they're fucking moving real slow because the pack starts weighing down. We're in the civilian world. You don't need a fucking heavy pack anymore. So let's fucking take it off, open that bitch up, and see what the fuck you got in there. Shake you out and say, you don't need this, you don't need this. Let me put some tools in your pack from mine to help you out. So we need to become our own outfitters.
Absolutely.
And really take care of each other. And that means drawing a map for people sometimes. When we get out the Marine Corps, it's like we're stuck on that fucking trailhead. And we see footprints in front of us in multiple paths, but we don't know which way to go. We don't know what the footprints is. We know someone's been there.
Yeah.
And so we try and draw a map for ourselves. We look on the map and we see point A, and we see point B, but there's no trail point B.
Right.
Point B is success. What is success? It has to be defined for ourselves, right? Success is what we, it's subjective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is success
It's relative.
happiness with a job? Is it $1 million, a Maserati? Is it a fucking Tesla that you can put stupid fucking custom license plate? Every fucking single Tesla I've seen has a custom license plate about something about amp eater or no emissions, or I swear to God, it's fucking pretentious as shit and I want one.
I've never seen those. I've seen those
all the time, dude. Anyway, so what is success? And so we had to draw our own maps, you know?
Yeah.
But again, we'll see someone along the way or hiking on the trail going, hey man, how you doing? Get to talking, and all of a sudden you look on your map and you see another little path. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'll walk up that dude's path for a little bit. Or maybe you fall into the path and realize, yo dude, let me grab that pack and pull you back to my path, because what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, you're about to
Right?
walk off a cliff.
So, you know, back to that, going out in the woods and stuff like that, I think that's what we're trying to do with Triple B, and what I've been trying to do is try and help people find their own path and go out to these campfires and really open up. And we do hunting, camping, fishing, hiking, and shit like that, but we also hold a camp out once a month, every single month. That way we can, they're able to depend on the idea that once a month they have a place to escape to, where they go around the campfire. And we don't really allow civilians a lot. I mean, if you're a spouse, if you're a parent of a veteran or something like that, you know, we'll bring you in, we'll bring you in tight to the family and stuff like that, but understand that we won't curb who we are. It's a, I hate to say safe space, but it's kind of what it is. It's a chance for veterans to get out to the campfire, have a couple beers,
It's for a specific purpose.
and say what they want to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Say, hey, you know what? I shot this kid in Afghanistan. He's picked up an RPG. He was like fucking 10 years old.
Right.
You feel like shit. Like, you're not going to say that in a fucking classroom full of people, because everyone will be like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, that's
Evil.
so deep. You know, and you're not going to say to some fucking therapist down at the VA. You might, but you're not going to feel good about it. At least here, these campfires, these campouts, you can say what you want to. You can talk about slaying pussy in Thailand and almost getting AIDS, or, you know, finding out that your guy, has an Adam's apple that you're like, fuck, you know. But you can
And
talk
people can
about
laugh
shit.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and laugh about it, and laugh, and you can recharge your batteries. You can. It reminds you that you still have a family, you still have a brotherhood, you still have a sisterhood. That you're not as alone as you thought you were. That every month you can go out and hang out with your brothers and sisters. Be the asshole you can't be around the civilians that you don't want to scare at work, you know, and have a good time, and go back Monday morning and go, yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
I do have a
next
family.
month. And next month I get
Yeah.
to look forward to this.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's two things you bring up in there. One I want to hit on is the fact that nature is insanely healing, especially for people like you and I, where we already feel kind of claustrophobic in this environment. Like, now you're able to go out and you're able to kind of like just expand. You know what I'm saying? Like, nature has this ability where it's like, man, I feel more opened up anyway, right? Because I'm not in traffic. I'm not being bombarded by fucking TV and ads and commercials and fucking auditors and people trying to come and get me. Like, I'm here out in the open, and the only noises I'm hearing are from nature that are natural and healing. I'm able to just kind of like drop my pack and let go of like the pressure of society, because like there's a lot of muck in this environment that we're a part of now, and I think that's why we're also having a big issue. Think about Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
Dude, Camp Pendleton, I love going on Camp
Size
Pendleton.
of fucking like a
Dude,
fucking
It's
city.
5 zip codes.
Yeah.
It's 5 zip codes. It's
From Oceanside
amazing.
to San Clemente.
Yeah, out to Fallbrook.
Yeah.
It's huge. But think about that, dude. Like, we were in vastness. We were in openness. We had a lot of green on that base. there's a lot of that. And like what I would do, I find myself just going for a run out in the back, like in the hills.
Yeah.
And just like I'm away from people instantaneously. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get a lot of that anymore. And I'm really, really trying to figure out some new things to do that. Like I'm really right now I'm really trying to hunt. Like I really want to get out and hunt. I'm actually wanting to go hunt Pendleton. After we get up here, I gotta go and see in my bedroom if I still have my fucking hunter safety card. But the next thing is this too, that a lot of people don't talk about is, I think where a lot of the depression comes in as well, is that we as veterans dwell back on our time in the military, and we see that we were leaders in some way, shape, or form. And that was what was beautiful about being in the Marine Corps is, you know, even at the lowest level, you can in some way, shape, or form be in charge of someone and lead an individual. And in the world today, we don't see a lot of applications for our ability to become leaders. And it kind of thwarts our what we feel as a purpose, because we do feel this drive to want to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? And like I think everyone in some way, shape, or form wants to be a leader and wants to be led. And we haven't found this kind of way to adapt it to the world. But what you're talking about right now is, you know, around these campfires, there's positions and a lot more ability for people to like become leaders. And and it also gives them, like, it entices them to heal. Because it's like, yo, if I can get myself through this, and those 3 or 4 people over there that aren't willing to open up or that are having trouble, I can tell them about my story, and I can be like, hey, like, let me help you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, come over here, like, let's talk, let's chat, let's figure it out. Oh, I have these resources, much like what you're talking about. So it's like, I had Forrest on here, Forrest Lang, 2 episodes ago, where he's like, being a servant leader. He talks about being a servant leader and how that's usually and mostly the motivation in each and every individual. That's a role that they want to fill. They want to give back, but they also want to lead. And it sounds like what you're trying to do and what you're doing and the what you're seeing, the results you're seeing, is that's what you're producing. And it's opening up the path for other people to grow in these types of roles a lot faster than what we see in just the normal rigmarole daily within the crazy society fucking conundrum that we have right now.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's, you know, when you come back to Mother Nature, I think one of the reasons why we veterans like Mother Nature so much is because it's the one thing that can still offer us a challenge. Mother Nature can turn her nasty ass real fucking quick and challenge us. And I think through our experiences, we're pretty confident in nature. We know that whatever she throws at us, we can handle. And we almost yearn for that. We almost want something to happen. We almost want to get lost in the woods a little bit and challenge ourselves, because that's the only really challenge we have left when we get out. That's the real possibility that could take our lives. Like Mother Nature could actually fucking kill us.
Yeah.
She can be a nasty bitch, and that's that one thing that we almost like secretly like, come on, bitch, fucking try it. See what happens. Like, I kind of want to get lost a little bit. So I can challenge myself again. I can fucking go through a trial of fucking.
I can feel alive.
Yeah,
it makes me feel alive.
Exactly, and I think that's one of those things. It's like just getting out there. It's like you're almost, you know, it's like almost like you're a wolf in the woods, and you're just.
We are animals, man. We are animals, believe it or not.
Animals, dude.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the fucking new age people in whatever fucking crazy philosophy they're trying to adopt nowadays are trying to just completely disassociate from the fact that we are nature. We came from nature. We evolved from nature, and it's still a big part of us.
I'll be honest, you know, if I wasn't married, I love my wife, I love my daughter, you know, don't get me wrong, but, you know, if I wasn't married, I had a kid, I'd be living in Montana right now, some shitty cabin, writing manifestos or some fucking shit, I don't know. But I'd be fucking living...
Sending weird bombs to people.
Yeah, I'd be sitting in some fucking, you know, you ever see that opening scene of Shooter?
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, dude, I know. I was in love.
Fucking growing the ponytail, living fucking life, dude.
Being able to shoot whenever the fuck you want.
Do what the fuck you want to do, dude.
Absolutely.
I would love that. I would love that, you know.
Who eats Dinty more, though? Who eats Dinty more? That shit's gross.
I fucking love me some Dinty more.
Really?
Pack that shit in my...
dude, you know what I would love to have right now? This is such a weird craving. Is a fucking chicken pot pie. For some reason, I'd love to get down on
like
chicken pot pie right
like
now.
The Walmart chicken pot pie. Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, I think the last one I had, the first and only time I've ever been to this place, I think it's Claim Jumper. But someone was telling me if I really want a good chicken pot pie, go to Boston Market.
Dude, Growing up as a kid, I had the chicken pot pies. You know, my family, we didn't have a lot of money, so we had shitty pot pies. And microwave them. Microwave, you throw them over. It was like really hot on the outside, like cold in the middle, but it was still like fucking great. It's still good. I'm down for a chicken pot pie, but
I wish I could.
But yeah, man, no, this is a fun experience, dude. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, tell us a little bit more about when's the next Triple B get together for those of us out there in the San Diego area that may be interested.
Well, gosh, you know, we got an event coming up with the High Dive, which is Alone and Unafraid. Again, another shameless pitch. They're a t-shirt company, and they've been great with us. And this is the second event they've held where they got 3 kegs and a whole bunch of bottles of alcohol, and the money goes back to us, the nonprofit organization. So
what's the date for that event?
That is November 11th. That is Veterans Day.
Oh, shit.
And then we have a Thanksgiving Day coming up for veterans who don't have a family or nowhere to go. You can come up to our cabin. It's not our cabin. It's a cabin we use.
Right.
And we use it because on Father's Day I was pouring sand in the fucking church. Right? So we've done a lot of work. We helped out this lady named Nika. She owns a Pine House Tavern in Mount Laguna. Well, she bought the old Mount Laguna church up there, and it was Act of Congress because the National Forest wanted to blow it over and grow trees there. But there's an old cabin there with a church. We did a lot of work at the church, so now we're able to use the church, at our leisure. And so it's cool. At wintertime, there's 6 inches of snow. We're sitting in the
So this is going to be Thanksgiving?
We're going to have a dinner. Not Thanksgiving night, Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to go camping. We got 15 people from MWR working with MWR.
Sweet.
The Navy's Virgin Single Sailor Marine Program. Yeah. So they're getting 15 sailors coming out. We're going to get 15 veterans come out who don't have families come out and have Thanksgiving with another family. And then our 1-year anniversary.
Is there camping allowed for everybody that weekend?
Oh, dude, you can camp all over the property. You can you can sleep in the bunkhouse.
I'll be there.
I'm
going to dedicate to that.
Dude, I would love to have you come
let's
out.
do it.
You can camp out outside. It'll be cold outside. It'll be in the woods, Mount Laguna, pine trees. Wake up to turkeys and shit like that. Yeah. And in fact, you said hunting. We do hunting. In fact, Colin this week, next weekend, before the High Dive event, is doing a pheasant hunt up in Palmer Mountain. It's $100 and some to go up there. Yeah. But you got to have your upland game stamp, as long as your hunting license and a shotgun, something orange. You know. Cool. That being said, Colin's my assistant director. He owns an outfitting company called Kid Fox Outfitters. Like him on Facebook, follow Instagram, #Get the Fox out there. He does that all the time. I have to help him out with that. But anyway, he's an outfitter, and it's great. He outfits guys. He goes out and does hunting. So if you want to go hunting, he'll dig you out fowl hunting. I'll take you out deer hunting.
I need to get out there.
Rifle and bow. Cool. So we got some bow hunters in the group, bow archers. Yeah. Dude, we got one guy named Jamie. He's a former Army guy. Then he went SWIC, and now he teaches instinctive shooting. Yeah, dude. This guy takes up a fucking bow and just... And maybe it's because he's part Native American. I don't know what it is, but he's sexy as fuck when he got to fucking bow, man. But anyway, so you can camp anywhere. We'll have some fun. I'll run you through a land nav course I set up there and stuff like that.
Sick.
And then November 16th, really important, our 1-year anniversary camp out in Anza Borrego. Cool. This is the one spot I found in Anza Borrego that I found peace. It's next to an old Kumeyaay village that was used as a winter camp, where the Kumeyaay would come down from Mount Laguna, escape the harsh winters, come in Anza Borrego and camp out, and then head back up. Well, there's an old Native American village that's been used for thousands of years. We camp outside of it. We go into the village. There's morteros, metates, grindings, and shit like that all the place. What's really cool is you go down an area and it's all decomposed granite. I mean, whatever shoes you have on, you're sticking. I mean, you're walking up vertical angles like this.
That's sick.
Underneath these big boulders are huge cavernous areas that you can crawl through. It's daylight down there, and it's 10 degrees cooler down there. And you can crawl around for an hour and a half and not have to come up. It's just bitching little tunnels. And you sit there and you're like, fucking 200 years ago, kids were playing in this thing. Fucking fires. You can see little places that have been cleared out where it had been scouting. You know, stuff like beautiful. Tactically speaking, beautiful spot. So we're gonna do our 1-year anniversary camp out there, and then we have a trout fishing trip on the second weekend of December.
Cool.
And at Lake Wolford, they're going to start the lake with trout, and we're going to start doing some trout fishing. So our thing is we take veterans outdoors, hunting, hiking, camping, and fishing. We follow all those different things to get guys out there. Because some guys like fishing, some guys like hunting. The problem is a lot of veterans, they hear camping, they think the fucking field. Mm-hmm. Difference is we got steak, beer, and a campfire. Mm-hmm. come out and have a good time with your brothers, you know,
yeah.
and enjoy yourselves and refuel yourself, you know. We'll get you out somewhere, you know. And the thing is we just don't do that. We do a lot of things outside of it, you know, here in town. This Friday, we're gonna go do a meetup, fucking go have some beer and chat and talk, you know, with some of the core members. And anyone, we say everybody who joins the group is a member of Triple B. Like you're a representative of Triple B. Anytime you go out, you can say, hey, I'm a member of Triple B. I'm with Triple B. And speak on our behalf for us, if you like. You know, as long as you're a good person, good moral character, you're not fucking ripping people off or whatever.
Asking for a military discount.
Yeah, yeah. Let's be honest. I don't care if you ask for military discounts. How you fucking do it?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's
all
expected. Like it's like you get shitty about it, you know.
And you're waiting for someone to say no to you so that you can just fucking like take a photo and post it on Facebook. Yeah, exactly.
The keyboard veteran, you know,
fucking military discount.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking boycott, and every person, the really right wing guys are like, oh my god, I am so not going to Applebee's because they did not give a military discount to my cousin's friend's boyfriend's dad's son. You know, it's like they're so unpatriotic. Like, look, dude, it's a fucking franchise. Like, fucking franchise owner made, you know, just do what the fuck you want to do. You know. Anyway. But yeah, so we got a bunch of trips coming up. We really want to get more veterans out there because it's the idea of Triple B doesn't exist without people showing up. I've heard people say, hey, dude, thanks for putting this on. No, fucking thank you for coming out, because it tells me there's something to this. There's this idea of getting out in the wilderness and being with your brothers and sisters around a campfire. You know, it's